All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are live. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. This is the day that the Lord has made. We are rejoicing and we are glad in it. For those of you that are coming on, joining me live, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. This is the Millionaire Monday that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing. We're already glad in it. If you are joining me live, do me a quick favor, hit that like button, hit that share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know the Ramonepreston Show is live. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the Ramonepreston Show. Today we're going to be talking about some facts that are centered around your net worth. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are a business owner, minister, W-2 employee, network marketer, 1099 contractor, if you're a stay-at-home parent, it really doesn't matter where you are on this broad economic spectrum. Here's what's important for you to understand. Your net works will have a lot to do with your net worth, okay? And your networks are not just tied to people. Your networks are actually tied to business systems, processes, products, services, and other assets that make your life what it is, or that makes the quality of your life what it is. And so today I want to talk to you about facts that are centered around your net worth. So do me a quick favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, tag somebody and let them know that the Ramonepreston Show is live. And if you have any questions, feel free to put those questions in the comments. My squad and I, we always lurk on those comments. So if you put any comments in the comment section, or if you put any questions in the comment section, we should be able to see those questions and we'll do our best to answer them. So again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. If you don't know, now you know. I'm your host, Ramonepreston. Every Monday through Friday, we come here live to give you the game, to show you what you need to do so that you can scale your business and your finances to the next level. So if you are looking for ways to increase your net worth, if you know that your networks reflect your net worth, and your networks are not just like your networks with people, but your networks are your networks within your financial life, within your professional life, within your business life, we want to help you make that happen, okay? One of the things that we specialize here in is showing you how to set your infrastructure up. This is one of the reasons why I talk so much about the holding company, because if you could set your infrastructure up the right way, using concepts like the holding company, it just makes it a little easier for you to start accumulating your assets. So that's step number one. Step number one is you want to set up your structure right. If you do it right the first time, you don't have to do it right the next time, right? So you want to set your structure up. You want to have a holding company, you want to have an operating company or multiple operating companies, and you just want to have your structure set up in a way so that when you start accumulating these assets, you ain't all throwed off and confused about how you need to integrate them into your business, all right? So it's about structure first. And once the structure is put together the right way, particularly in the way that I teach you with regard to your holding company and your operating company, then it's time to start accumulating assets. As you accumulate these assets, you start quantifying these assets, meaning that you start putting a dollar amount to those assets. Like, for example, if you got trademarks, if you have copyrights, if you got intellectual property, if you got trade secrets, recipes, or certain processes that you use to do what you do in your business, whether it's a product you selling or a service you providing, if you start accumulating these assets, it could be real estate, it could be equipment, it could be vehicles, it could be other businesses. But once you start accumulating these assets and you start putting a dollar amount to these assets because they have value, they have revenue value, they have enterprise value within your organizational enterprise, and you have that thing structured the right way, it's easy for you to integrate these assets into other areas of your business. It's so easy for you to do it. Like, for example, okay, I own intellectual property, and my intellectual property is based on me knowing about business, me knowing about finances, me knowing about real estate, me knowing about leadership, me knowing about ministry, all the things that I've done to build what I built as a minister and as an entrepreneur. Okay, I have a church, I have a nonprofit organization, I have a 501c3, I got outreaches, I got community programs, I have all types of stuff that goes on under my nonprofit organization. I have a church charter, I have a school of ministry, I got a school of prophets, I have licensed ministers, I have a chaplaincy licensing. Like, I got all this stuff under my nonprofit. But then under my for-profit, I have a consulting business, we got a real estate division, we have an investment division, we have a coaching division, we have an educational division. We got all these things. We got all these things that are under my nonprofit. So I have a for-profit organization and I have a nonprofit organization. Do you see how that works? And so because I have these two entity structures, I have a nonprofit 501c3 structure, I have a for-profit holding company, subsidiaries, divisions, and now all of a sudden I could take the intellectual assets that I have and I can integrate them into all of these worlds. So I have intellectual property, right? I have ideas, I have information and training. I can infuse it or integrate it into my nonprofit through my school of ministry, through my licensing program, through my chaplaincy, through my school of prophets, through my church, through my training for the people who are in our church. So that's all intellectual property, but I personally own it. Okay. And then for my business, I could do similar things. I can take my intellectual property and I can package it in the form of my Millionaire Blueprint for business and financial education. I can package it in the form of coaching and consulting and real estate. Now, all of a sudden, I've taken one asset, which is intellectual property, IP, and I've integrated it throughout my organization. So when you hear me talking about building your holding company, building your infrastructure, it's really because you want to start housing these assets. This is how you're going to start accumulating assets, quantifying these assets, and then integrating them in your business. And once you start integrating them in your organization, in all the businesses and operations that you have, it's easier to valuate them. And as you valuate these assets, this is where the whole concept of your net worth comes in at. Because your net worth is the sum total of your assets minus your liabilities. Your net worth is the sum total of all the things that you have that are assets that have a dollar amount. They've been quantified. They have revenue value, they got enterprise value. And then you take that and then you minus your liabilities, and guess what you're left with? You're left with net worth. This is where you start putting yourself in the best position to get the resources you need so you can continue to move forward. And so today, I'm giving you some facts about net worth, all right? And again, whether you in business, whether you in ministry, whether you are a entrepreneur, a preacher, whether you're a network marketer, a stay-at-home parent, all of this still applies to you. I always tell people, just because you're not a business owner don't mean what I'm saying don't apply to you. Just because you're a preacher or you're a pastor or a minister don't mean what I'm saying don't apply to you. I know a whole lot of preachers and pastors and ministers who love God. They love God's people. They're doing their best to do the work of the Lord, but they don't have resources. And it's not really that they don't have resources. They just have not taken the resources that they really have and made sense of them. Probably because they're not educated to identify with those resources. They don't know how to package those resources and make those resources work for them, even if it's not within the context of their church to monetize or their ministry to monetize. They can still take them into the marketplace and monetize them. Otherwise, you left struggling, trying to do something that you feel like you've been called to do, but you ain't got no money to do it. You ain't got no resources to do it. You ain't got nothing to back and finance what it is that you're doing. If you're a stay-at-home parent, this applies to you because your business is actually your household. You and your family and your household is a business system. So there are assets within that circle, within that ecosystem that you have to get familiar with. You have to identify with these assets. You got to know how to package them the right way. And if you have the types of infrastructures that I talk about, like the holding company, it just makes what you want to do with your life and with the quality of your life easier. So I'm going to give you 5 facts today, 5 facts about net worth. And again, if you're not concerned about net worth today, you will be one day. The day is going to come that you're going to be concerned about your net worth. You're going to be concerned about what are the assets that I have when I minus my liabilities. You don't want to wake up one day and all you got is liabilities. And liabilities ain't just like credit card debt or loan or stuff that don't have no money value. Liabilities can be people. You don't want to look in the mirror and realize that you the biggest liability you got, because you have been unwilling to change. You've been unwilling to grow. You've been unwilling to expand and to explore new versions of yourself. You can become the liability. All right. You want to wake up and make sure that you are an asset and that everyone and everything and every place that you are connected to and tied to is an asset. All right. So let's talk about these facts with regard to net worth. Fact number 1. The top 1% holds more net worth than the entire middle class. I don't even know if you knew that. This is a fact about net worth. The top 1%, they hold more net worth than the entire middle class. Do you understand how powerful of a fact this is? I left my diagram up here because I wanted to show y'all this. Let me show y'all this. For those of you that are on IG, you might, I don't know if you can see it the correct way, but if you're not on IG and you're streaming, you should be able to see it the right way. I want to show y'all this. So I want to blow this up real quick because this is a graph that I use to teach on the income ladder of success. So this is a graph for one of my courses, but I want to show you this because here's the fact I just gave you. Fact number 1 about net worth. The top 1% holds more net worth, meaning that the top 1% has more assets than the entire middle class. Do you see? I hope you can see this. IG, I'm trying to let y'all in on this, but I know the angle is not the way it is if you're streaming from YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. But I want you to see this. The top 1%, they hold more net worth than the entire middle class. So here's the middle class right here. The middle class is right here in this area. This is the entire middle class. 70% of households in America make up the middle class. All right, 70%. Only 29% of the households in America make up the poor class, but 70% of households make up the middle class. And this is what I've been preaching and teaching for a while now, because I want people to wake up to see it doesn't matter if you are a W-2 employee, a 1099 contractor, a network marketer, a preacher, an evangelist. You could be a community service worker. You can have community programs. You could be a politician. You could be a small business owner. Most of American households are in the middle class. They are in this 70%. And so this first fact that I gave you says that the top 1%, we're talking about the people way up here. the top 1%, they hold more assets, more net worth than this whole group of people. So first of all, what is that telling you? What it should be telling you is, I don't want to be in this middle. I don't want to be squished in between this sandwich. I don't want to be stuck in this middle. I want to get out of this middle. And in order for you to get out of this middle economically, you have to make at least $400,000 or more a year. Think about that. Out of 100% of households in America, only 1% of households make at least 400 grand a year. 70% of households are in the middle. 29% of households are at the bottom. I've been at all these, so I know when you at the bottom, you already know you at the bottom. There are certain perks that you get at the bottom that people in the middle don't even get. I know a whole lot of people that I work with, clients and students, both. This is real people. I know people right now that I work with who are clients and students of mine that because they don't make $32,000 or less, and because they're not considered to be categorically the poor class, they're considered middle class, there are certain benefits and perks that they don't get because they're categorically the middle class. So in most cases, people who are in the middle live worse than the people who are at the bottom, because at least the people who are at the bottom get help. At least they get assistance, they get perks and benefits that a lot of people in the middle don't get. And this is why I keep telling you, from an economic perspective, you need to get your behind out the middle class. You need to be figuring out, how can I get to at least $400K a year? And here's what's going to start happening. Because the middle class is not just, here's a footnote. The middle class is not just an economic issue that you have. This is why most people don't lead the middle class. The middle class is not just an economic issue. The middle class is this, a mentality. So it's a mental issue. The reason why people are stuck in the middle is not just because of economics, because people in the middle got the same access to the information people at the bottom and the top, for the most part. So if you're listening to me right now and I'm telling you there's a way for you to get out of the middle class, if you don't take heed to what's being said because you're so focused on a mentality that, oh, you just trying to get over on somebody. Here's another internet guru trying to spit game and finesse us out of money. That's a mentality. That's a mentality. That's a mentality that's keeping people stuck. And a lot of the stuff that you see going on right now in the news, the propaganda, things that are being perpetuated, it's really a part of a game. It's a part of a gig. It's a part of a scam. It's a part of a rigged system to keep most of this people here stuck here. Because what most people don't realize is, if you're in this middle class, you are actually poor. You're probably resource poor. You're probably credit poor. You're probably cash poor. You're probably, opportunity poor, because you're limited in what it is that you have, because you're squished in this section of society where everybody else at. So of course, there's no room. And I'm telling you, middle class is not just an economic position, but it's a mental position. And this makes up 70% of households. And it ain't just W-2 employees in this middle class. It ain't just W-2 employees. I know a lot of people who are business owners, middle class, entrepreneurs, network marketers, preachers, pastors, ministers, community service workers, most of them right here. Most of them never get out of this because they don't change not just their economics, they don't change their mentality. So fact number one about net worth, the top 1% holds more net worth than the entire middle class. And we can sit back here with this mentality and say, well, the people at the top, they know something we don't know. Well, you might be right. But if you live in a world where you now have access to a lot of the things that this group of people knew that you didn't know, you can't keep using that as an excuse. Because again, I come from poverty. I come from below the poverty line, way below the poverty line. And once me and my wife got married and we started doing what we were called to do in business and ministry, we started climbing that ladder. But for years, me and my wife, we got stuck in this middle because we thought, hey, being in the middle is better than being at the bottom. It was a mentality. So we driving nice cars, we living nice, we making a little money, we doing what we do as professionals, but we still stuck. We in this cycle. And it's only so far you go. And I had to wake up one day. This was like 5-6 years ago when I woke up. It was actually 6 years ago, 2017. I woke up and I was like, man, this ain't it here. I'm sick of this. I just feel like I'm on a treadmill because I only get so far and I hit the bottom again. And I keep repeating and rinsing and repeating and rinsing and repeating. And I'm like, man, I need to break away. And what I had to realize was, on one hand, I didn't know enough. I didn't know enough about what this group of people knew. I didn't know enough about what this 1% knew. All right? And I also had to realize that there were things that I didn't know that were affecting me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there are things that I knew based on being a part of this group, the poor class. There are things that I knew based upon being a part of this group that were hindering me from becoming a part of the 1%. So it's not only that I didn't know certain things because there was new information I needed, but there was information that I had embedded in me that I wasn't breaking away from. Okay, I had to break away from this. This is what I had to break away from. The mentality, not just the economics of the poor class. I had to break away from the mentality, not just the economics of the middle class. I had to start making a conscious decision that I don't care if it rubs people the wrong way, if it offends people, if it pushes people away, if it makes people think I'm funny acting and I'm changing and I'm different and all I'm about is money. You hear all this crap from people who down here. All this stuff that we hear comes from people down here. Oh, it ain't all about money. Who said it was all about money? Who said it was all about money just because I want to have something? I didn't say it was all about money. I'm just as about God today up here in the green as I was when I was down in the red. Might be more because at least I'm economically and financially free to focus on the things God called me to do without the pressure, without the economic and the financial pressure, without the professional pressure. You get what I'm saying? So all this other stuff is an excuse. And again, you need to look at this and say, hey, you know what I need to do? I need to get out of the 1%. I need to get out of the 99%. I need to figure out how can I get into the 1%. Because I'm telling you, I don't want to be in the 99% economically. I don't want to be in the 99% mentally. I want to be out of that. I don't even want to be in it environmentally. I want to be out of that because I know how hard it is to live a quality life when you don't have the quality resources to match the quality life you want to live. All right, so that's fact number one. Fact number two, small businesses are one of the top 5 vehicles most household net worth is tied to. So when you look at most of the household net worth in the United States of America, there are vehicles, there are areas, there are industries that most of these households have their net worth tied to. One of those top 5 areas or vehicles is small business. This is a powerful fact here because what that says to us is that if you can figure out how to build a small business and invest in that small business by accumulating enough assets in that small business that it is viable enough and sustainable enough to not fail, because 9 out of 10 businesses fail within any 5 to 7 year window. If you could figure out how to build a business system and have products and services that people are willing to buy and create the right systems and processes in that business so that it can continue to move forward, and then start accumulating assets in that business system, if you can figure out a way to do that, you become one of the top 5 areas most households put their net worth in or tie their net worth to. So what that means is you may be able to get more than enough funding that you may need for your business. You may be able to find partnerships. You may be able to acquire businesses that are in your space to grow your business. Like the possibilities become endless when you at least focus on this vehicle called a small business. So there are other vehicles that a lot of households invest their net worth into. They have their net worth tied to like stocks, bonds, real estate. What are some other areas that they have their net worth tied to? Mutual funds. But here's the thing. Small businesses are one of those things. Like we're living in a time right now. I don't know if you watch a lot of economic news and you do a lot of research with business and entrepreneurship studies. But there's a study that just recently came out that shows within the next 8 years or so, there's probably going to be 10 to 20 trillion dollars transferred from this baby boomer generation to the current generation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we got like 10 to 20 trillion dollars. Let's just say in the next 8 years, if it's only 10 trillion dollars, what these studies are showing is that most of this wealth in the trillions, tens of trillions of dollars, most of this wealth that's going to be transferred from the baby boomer generation, 70, 80, 60 something, 70 something, 80 something year olds, to this generation, those of us who are really out here in the marketplace grinding and building our businesses and our enterprises, most of this wealth is going to be transferred from one small business to another small business. So it's going to be like B2B transfer of wealth. It ain't going to just be Uncle Bob giving little Jimmy $1 million. Or Auntie Janice giving her son $5 million. This is not where most of the trillions of dollars are going to be transferred into. Most of this money is going to be transferred from one small business to another small business, one enterprise to another enterprise. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. So if you take what I'm saying to you and you understand them as facts, what that should make you do is, for this particular fact, is to really heighten your awareness on how important a small business is, especially in this economic climate. I'm not saying you need to leave your job if you work in a job. I'm not saying having a W-2 job is not important. I'm not saying being an employee is not the thing. But what I'm saying is at some point, you are going to invest in a small business, even if you're working for a business. Because if you work for a business, you're investing into a small business because you're an employee. If you got a 401k in that from that small business or that large business, you're investing into a business. If you take some of your free cash flow and invest in real estate or invest in a REIT or a mutual fund or a stock and a bond, where do you think your money is being invested into? Your money is being invested into a business. It might not necessarily be a small business at that point, but it's still a business. And so the bedrock of our nation, like the bedrock of our nation, the pillar of this country is tied to small businesses. So we don't want to overlook the value of small business, especially if you're an entrepreneur. This should be an incentive for you not to give up. Like so many people in business are giving up right now. I know so many people that I listen to and they just like, you could tell they gave up. You could tell they done checked out. You could tell in their mind they thinking, let me just wait until this thing blow over. What you don't understand is it ain't gonna blow over. By the time it blows over and you look up, you're gonna realize that, oh, we're not in the same world we used to be in. I know people today who are still trying to do business. They trying to do life. They trying to pursue careers today like they were in the beginning of 2020. Before the pandemic. What they don't realize is we never went back to a pre-pandemic world. The way the world was prior to March of 2020, we ain't seen that world since. And you ain't gonna see it, especially in business, especially in finance, and especially in economics and in entrepreneurship. So that's fact number 2. All right, let's get to fact number 3. The third fact about net worth. Most net worth is accumulated between the ages of 40 and 60. Did you know that? Most net worth is accumulated between the ages of 40 and 60. The average is about 50 to 55. So you don't take my word for it, because remember, I'm just another internet guru. So do your own research and find out what I'm saying. So here's the fact. Let me read it again. Most net worth is accumulated between the ages of 40 and 60. So that means if you're between 40 and 60, this is where most of your net worth is going to be accumulated. If you're not 40 yet, what that means is you're probably still experiencing, for most people. Now, we're not talking about a lot of these exceptions, because there's a lot of young people that's being successful, but they don't make up the majority. Just because you watch social media and you see an overwhelming majority of people on your timeline who seem to have a lot of money and to be doing well, and they in their 20s and 30s, they are the exception to the rule. It's just that you are following all these people. But there's a world of people you don't even know that are not 40 yet that's struggling. There are people who are 40, 50, and 60 and who still broke and ain't got a pot to pee in or when to throw it out. So the people you do see who are actually accumulating a lot of net worth, if they're younger than 40, they are exceptions to the rule. Like, history proves this. Studies are showing that the average person who accumulates most of their net worth is it's normally around the 40 to 60 window, all right? And to be a little more specific or average, it may be like 50 to 55, all right? So what does that say to you? Well, if you are between 40 and 60, what that says to you is you need to start taking your net worth serious. That means you need to start looking at the things that you have in your life and identify with those things to see if they're assets or they're liabilities, including people. Including people. Because if you got a whole bunch of idiots around you and their liabilities, if they're not helping you accumulate more assets, whether the asset is money, whether the asset is opportunities, whether the assets are better relationships, whether the asset is more education for you to become a better version of yourself, all of these things are assets. If your whole life is made up of liabilities, things that are taken from you and not given to you, including people, especially if you're in that 40 to 60 window, you need to understand these are the years where most people accumulate their net worth. This is where your net worth sits, between that 40 to 60 window. The sweet spot is like 50 to 55, where most people find that rhythm and it's like they go for it. They hit a pocket and they gone, all right? So that's fact number 3. Number 4, net worth operates as a reference point for measuring progress towards your goals. So if you look at the purpose of knowing your net worth, if you look at why you should be aware of your net worth and why you should track it, you will understand that it operates as a reference point. It's a reference point. So it doesn't mean it's going to necessarily determine your fate. So it don't mean if you don't have a net worth today that things can't change tomorrow. However, it should be used as a reference point to measure your progress towards your goal. So what that means is if you set a goal and you put a dollar amount, a quantifiable number to that goal. So let's say if you set a goal and say, okay, by 2030, in 7 years, I want to be a millionaire. I want to have $1 million saved up. I want to be making $1 million a year. I want to be debt free. I want to have a house built and paid for. Whatever the things are that you desire, let's say hypothetically in the next 7 years by 2030. Well, what you have to do is you have to set a goal out to 2030. You're right here at 2023. You got 7 years to make that happen. Now, once you set that goal, you need to quantify that goal, because now you need to do the math to figure out, okay, what do I need to accomplish in 2023, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29? What do I got to accomplish all these years in order to make sure that when I get here, I've hit my number, I've hit my dollar? You got to quantify that. Most people never quantify their goals. And while you're doing that, you're accumulating assets, especially if you're educated about it. Now you're starting to look at the things that you are accumulating, whether it's trademarks, intellectual property, copyrights, businesses, real estate, equipment, vehicles, deals, partnerships. Now all of a sudden you're looking for all the means and ways to accumulate assets. Why? Because you want to use your net worth that's made up of these assets to measure where you are in light of where you're going. So the people who feel like, man, ain't nobody got no time for no net worth, that's for the rich people. If you talking like that, you need to go back to this course over here. You don't even need to be talking to me today. This is where you need to go. Man, this is a bunch of baloney. You just talking out the side of your head. Yeah, okay. Show me where you at financially. Show me where you at economically. Matter of fact, we're not even going to talk financially, economically. Show me where you at mentally. You're showing me where you at if that's how you talking. Because again, like I told you, the people who don't want to hear this, the people who think this is a bunch of baloney, the people who are convinced that it ain't nothing but a scam and it's just an opportunity for people on the internet to finesse them, which all that may be true with some segment of society. But if that's your mentality, it is because you somewhere in here. You in the 70% or you in the 29%. You in the poor class or the middle class, and you have a certain level of data. You have been programmed to believe certain things and you can't shake it, which means you can't move up that ladder. You may want to move up that ladder, but you just can't seem to do it. It's because there's a mentality that's limiting you. Your belief system is limiting you. And in order for you to get new information and believe it, you got to get rid of the trash. You got to get rid of the old stuff. You got to become a different version of yourself, and you have to believe the things that people who are moving up that ladder believe. And you got to refute and reject the things that most of them are willing to refute and reject. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Let me give y'all my final point for today. Here's the good thing. If me rambling off on this show is just too much for you, please understand, I only have maybe 30, 45 minutes up to an hour on my live show to share as much information as I can with you. So I can't give you everything in 30 minutes or 1 hour. I do my best to give you incremental pieces of information so that you can at least start wrapping your mind around the things that I'm saying and not just dismiss it because it's somebody on the internet giving it to you. Like, this is today's TV, all right? This is the world's TV today, the way we do what we do right now. So you have to start, taking these bite-sized pieces of information and letting them resonate in your mind. And you got to start getting rid of things that are challenging that new information. Now, that process is difficult because there's a level of trust you have to have either in the people who are sharing that new information with you, or you have to at least trust the process itself, which is not the easiest thing to do. But at some point, you got to make that transition. We've all been here. We've all been here. I've been there. I've been at that point to where I questioned a lot of what people were saying. I didn't think it could work for me. So when someone shared it with me, I didn't think it could work, not because they wasn't working it, but because I didn't think it could work for me. So there are a lot of personal objections that you have to fight through when you're listening to new forms of information. But again, I have a lot of this information that I share with you on the show is only incremental pieces of what I have inside of my program. And of course, it's supposed to be that way. This is business. So a part of business is you taking what it is that works for you, that you want to disseminate and share with others, and you package in a way that people can value it and appreciate it. What I've learned about free stuff is when it's free, it's not always appreciated. Okay? So let me give you my final fact. I've given you 5 facts about net worth. Number 1 was the top 1% holds more net worth than the entire middle class, which is a shame for God for it to be that bad. Number 2, small businesses are one of the top 5 vehicles most household net worth is tied to. So if you can build a real successful business, even if it's a small business, it can really be worth something. We see it on Shark Tank all the time. Small businesses go there. They might not even be generating a lot of revenue, but they may have trademarks. They may have a book of business. They may have enough credibility and enough history and enough activity that the investors see the upside. Not that you're just trying to get an investor, but you want to put you and your business in the best position, whether it's for an investor, whether it's for a venture firm, whether it's for a bank or for a lending institution to support you, whatever it's for, or whether it's just for you to have more credibility in your marketplace, doing this plays a very, very important role. Fact number 3, most net worth is accumulated between the ages of 40 and 60. The sweet average spot is like 50 to 55. So like all you have to do is just do some research on Warren Buffett, one of my top mentors and coach, Grant Cardone, and just look at Jeff Bezos, look at Bill Gates, look at a lot of their business lives. Okay, look at their entrepreneurial tenures, and you'll see there was a certain pocket they hit, and it's like boom, everything exploded. But it didn't just explode at the time it exploded. They were building that up because they knew what they had. They had assets, and they were continuing to accumulate those assets intellectually, experientially. You get what I'm saying? And they created something that exploded at a certain point, but it built up to that point. Fact number 4, net worth operates as a reference point for measuring progress towards your goal. So if you're using your net worth correctly, it's also going to be used as a reference point to let you know where you are in light of where you're going. So if you don't have goals and you haven't quantified those goals and you don't have a certain number and dollar amount associated to those goals, it's not always the easiest thing for you to like value net worth because you just winging it. You don't really know where you're going. Okay. And here's the 5th and final fact that I'm sharing with you today about net worth. Net worth doesn't require debt, but it involves debt. So you don't have to have debt to increase your net worth. It doesn't require debt, but in most cases it involves debt. But what a lot of entrepreneurs do is they pick up the debt on the wrong side of the net worth spectrum. I did it too. So I know what I'm saying is true. So a lot of times the entrepreneur, they're here, they'll start a business, and before they take their business to the marketplace to monetize, most business owners and entrepreneurs today, they create the business right here. They get stuck working on the logo, working on the domain, working on the technology, working on the CRM, working on the project management software. They get stuck here. That's all they do. They never take an idea, go to the market and monetize the doggone idea. If it's that good, go monetize it. Because if you can't monetize it, there are a whole lot of ideas that I have had and that I have. When I take them to the market and I don't make money off of them, and I tweak them and I still don't make money off of them, and then I tweak them again and I still don't make money off of them, at a certain point in tweaking the thing that I've created an idea around, I got to decide, is it even worth a product and service to be sold? If I create an idea and I take it to the market in the form of a product or service and I start monetizing it, now I can validate what I'm doing. So when I say a lot of times people use debt on the wrong end of the spectrum of their business, is because they're over here trying to get a loan. They're trying to get debt. They're trying to get funding. They're trying to get working capital. They're trying to get all that over here, but you hadn't even gone to the marketplace right here and proved that whatever it is that you have as a product and service in your business works. If you do this, most likely you can self-fund your business, start increasing your net worth or accumulating enough assets in business, in money, in other assets, so that when you do go to these institutions over here, when these institutions show up over here, most likely they're going to give you money. So if you're trying to get a lot of this on the front end and you're not getting it, look at why you're not getting it. Is it because you haven't even monetized your idea yet? Or you're not marketing and creating content, showing up on social media, selling products and services, so that when you do go to a bank over here, it makes it easier for them to give you funding because you validated what you say you have. This is a big mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make. So again, I wanted to share these 5 facts about net worth with you. I hope they brought some value to you. Just in case you missed our show last week, every day we gave an offer to you for you to have access to my entire holding company course, if that's something you're interested in. And we want to give you a VIP ticket to our upcoming holding company workshop. So on Saturday, April the 22nd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., I'm hosting an entire day. I'm teaching you about holding companies. I'm teaching you about creative tax strategies. We talk about how to file and form your paperwork. I'm going to have a whole segment where I show you about 30 different assets that you can use to accumulate and integrate into your business or your ministry. For all of you that are like me, listen to me. I don't have a huge following on social media. Okay? I don't have hundreds of thousands of people following me on social media. I don't have a mega church. I don't have an international recognized ministry or business. But guess what? I have a multi-million-dollar organizational enterprise. I have assets on both sides of my organization. I've got plenty business. I've got plenty ministry opportunities. I have a whole ecosystem of people in my ministry and people in my business community. You know why? Because what I'm showing you worked for me, because I had to figure out, man, how can I make this thing work if I'm not big like T.D. Jakes or Creflo Dollar in ministry, if I'm not like Grant Cardone or Ed Milet in business, how can I succeed? How can I make it if I don't have hundreds of thousands of followers, if I don't have people who are willing to give me funding and loans and working capital, if I don't know the who's who? How can I get where I want to be if nobody's giving me a handout or co-signing? And what I've created is what I had to figure out because I was at the bottom and I didn't have resources. I didn't have financial support. I didn't have nobody co-signing for me. Nobody was trying to open doors for me or help me, support me in my business or my ministry. It's not like I had a whole lot of people making donations into my ministry when I was building my ministry. I didn't have people just flocking to my business, okay, when I was doing business. And there are a lot of people that my wife and I helped along the way that still didn't do business with us. And they knew we were in real estate. They knew we were trying to build something successful. So what I built is something that I believe God has given me the wisdom and the revelation and the ability to build so that I can in turn show my people, my community, those of you who may be in very similar spaces as I am, how to actually do it. And so what I'm going to be teaching on April the 22nd with regard to a holding company, that's not just about a business. It's also ministry. It's organization. It's structure. It's how do you take the ideas you have and package them in a way that they can be valuable enough to start accumulating enough assets so that you can have the money and the resources and the freedom to do the things that you want to do. So I want to invite you to join me live, in person or virtual on Saturday, April the 22nd. It's a one-day deep dive. We're going to be talking about holding companies and business systems all day. And I'm adding a new segment to this one-day workshop on how to accumulate assets and how do you integrate them into your business and how do you quantify them? How do you give them revenue value? How do you give them enterprise value? I'm going to be talking about that on April the 22nd. Again, you can join me live in person here in Buckhead, or you can join us virtual. But I want to encourage you, if you know you want to build a successful business or ministry or organizational enterprise, I want to show you how to do that using the strategies that I've used to do what I've done up to this point, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to give you a VIP ticket to the event, but we're also going to give you access to my holding company course. So this is an online course that I want you to go ahead and go through between now and April 22nd, next Saturday, almost 2 weeks from now, so that you can be more prepared. You can have your questions prepared. And if you go through the whole entire holding company course before April 22nd, I promise you, your mindset gonna be different. You're gonna be I already know you're gonna be talking different. You're gonna be thinking different because you're gonna see everything you're doing from a different perspective. I know what I'm saying to be true. Mr. J.K. Forbes, one of our coaching clients, he put in the comments, I appreciate you, man. He says, Mr. Preston is the best coach, consultant, and educator in business on YouTube to get you to $1 million. The Millionaire Blueprint course is the shortcut. Thank you, sir. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. J.K. I appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you tonight on our weekly coaching call. So again, if you want to take me up on that offer, I'm giving you a VIP ticket to my upcoming one-day event. It's a workshop, virtual or in person, and I'm going to give you access to my holding company course, which has a startup kit included inside. And I'm giving it to you for $97. 97 bucks. You get one VIP ticket and you get my holding company course. I mean, come on, man. You spend $97. This is a course plus startup kit. So I show you how literally, you can take this one course and go through it, and you will learn how to build a holding company, divisions, subsidiaries, a whole entire organizational enterprise. And if you listen thoroughly to a lot of the segments I have in here, I will show you how to take your ideas and turn those ideas into services, top tier services that you can provide as an expert in the marketplace. Listen, I'm giving you what I do, so I know it works. It's working for me. And I did it with no resources. So I know it's possible. So again, you get this for $97. All you have to do is text VIP to 678-276-8253. 97 bucks. If you're a church person if you a Christian, if you saved and got the Holy Ghost, I need to use some different terminology for you. You need to just sow that $97 seed. I bet you'll understand that one. But you need to invest $97 in yourself. You get one VIP ticket to join me and my team for one day on the 22nd, where we do a deep dive, and I'm going to give you this course so that you can start learning the ins and outs of a holding company even before you get there. All you have to do is text VIP to 678-276-8253. Hey, IG, I appreciate y'all. Crystal, thank you so much. She says, thank you for this lesson today. Appreciate you for being on there. I really appreciate y'all for joining the show. Y'all know we're going to be back on here tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon Eastern, same place, same time, right here on the Ramonepreston Show. For the next week or so leading up to April the 22nd, I'm going to be talking a whole lot about holding companies, net worth, creative tax strategies, building your business systems, your processes. I'm going to talk a lot about that because I want you to get access to this course, this startup kit, so you can learn about holding companies, how to start them, how to structure them, how to file and form your paperwork. We got operating agreements and other documents and forms inside the kit. We have walkthrough tutorials to show you how to do it yourself. Even if you pay somebody to do it, at least you know what they're actually doing, okay? And I'm giving you a VIP ticket to my upcoming workshop. It's a live event. You could join me in person or virtual. And guess what? Whatever questions you have, you're going to have me for a whole day live. I'll answer those questions. I've had people literally to come to my workshop and start their holding companies and their operating companies during the workshop. Like literally, I've had people to do that on a Saturday. They've obtained their EIN number. They got their articles of organization. They drafted their operating agreements. I've seen this so many times over. I can't even count how many times I've seen people do this. Like I've literally had people do what I just said during a coaching session. So I know once you get it, you got it. And the good thing is you're going to have me there with you and my team, and we're going to work with you through whatever you got to work through because we want you to be in the best position possible for this wealth transfer. So I love and appreciate all of you. I'll be back here tomorrow, same place, same time, 12 o'clock noon Eastern on the Ramonepreston Show. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that share button, follow me, subscribe. Don't meet me here, beat me here tomorrow, 12 o'clock.